Edmonton XL 92.5 FM.
All right, we welcome you in. The new drug today is we are 4 hours in counting for a brand new schedule. You already know who they play. You already know where they play them. And you'll know when they play them coming up in 4 hours. This is a fun night. This has become one of the fun kind of off-season nights of the year, hasn't it?
Without a doubt. I mean, it is. It's a celebration because the other thing too that at least for me, it's another signal that we're getting close to it.
That's right.
Because the schedule is, really one of the last pieces of the offseason. Obviously you have the combine and then you have the start of the new league year with free agency. You have the draft. You get the players out on the field for OTAs. But when the schedule release comes, to me, that's now you're very close to having football back. Because really, you'll have mandatory minicamp in June and then it'll be training camp. And I understand some fans, the season doesn't really start until the games begin. But for me, as soon as they report for training camp, I'm not saying this because we obviously work it. I'm just saying, for me, when all 32 clubs have started training camp, the season has begun because there's just news every day. There's something impactful every day that's happening.
And so it's an awful lot of fun. So tonight you'll get a chance. Is it 8 o'clock?
8 o'clock.
8 o'clock, you'll get to see the entire schedule. Again, you know the teams. You know the venues. You just don't know when, and we'll all get to find out together tonight at 8 o'clock. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. So we'll talk. It's schedule release day, and the schedule release day is always an awful lot of fun. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think everybody loves that. It'll be fun to see, again, when they wind up going where, and so it'll be a lot of fun. So we'll certainly talk about that. I love it. I'm in a good mood, even though nobody's winning or losing tonight. All I'm going to do is find out where but here's what I always do. I compare them. I compare it to the Gator schedule. Do you do that?
Mm-hmm.
I compare it to the Gator because I like watching the Gator games, so I don't go to many Gator games, obviously, but I like watching them. So I was like, okay, will I be on a plane here or will I be at home here? I do that. I'll put both guys. Then in the early part of the season, yes, I compare it to the Pirates schedule because the Pirates will be JJ deep in a playoff run by September, I would imagine.
You'll be like, well, that's the NLCS.
Yeah,
big circle there.
Well said. So, but I do. I do that. I do it around my birthday because I got a fall birthday. So I
got to look at the bye week.
Yeah.
That's the most important.
I got to see when the bye week comes. So do you do that? I'll match it against everything. That's what I love doing.
Without a doubt. It's the backbone of our lives for 4 months. You have to sort of base your life around the schedule, and look, that's fun. It's fun to see what lines up, and certainly how everything goes. So I can't wait. It's going to be a lot of fun, and it does feel like there's this cloud hanging over what does my life look like in the fall, and then by 8 o'clock tonight, I have a very clear picture of what my weekends are going to what in the fall.
That's exactly right. So I'm certainly looking forward to that. So schedule release day is today. I'm excited about it. I think we're all excited about it. So we look forward to kind of seeing what they tell us and what winds up happening. And we'll certainly talk about that coming up today on the program. So we have a lot of fun with that. All kind of fun stuff today. Brett Hastings comes by at Sports and Courts. That is at 4:20 today. Look, I think we're finally getting a resolution. We talked so much NIL and what's going on in house settlement. Well, I think we're finally going to get a resolution to the roster limits thing. And it's very interesting to me. Essentially, what's going to happen here, has happened, will happen, going to happen here, Hays, is that the judge said, listen, I'm okay with everything, but you can't just automatically tell a player they're out of a job because you're cutting a roster limit. Grandfather those in. The ones who expected to be on the roster now, get them through college, and then you can do whatever you want. The more I think about it, and Brett will kind of break it down why, and what Brett can tell us when he comes in here is what legal ramifications or what legal liabilities they might have had if she didn't do that. Could all these players who suddenly were no longer on the roster because the roster limits got cut sue like crazy, right? I think that's one of the things we'll have. That's one of the conversations we'll have with Brett Hastings when he gets in today.
Absolutely. Another thing that I'm eager to get Brett's opinion on, and hopefully he's listening right now as he's driving over. So with the NBA lottery and the kind of floating around social media, people saying it's rigged, I'd be curious to get his legal opinion on what would be the ramifications if Adam Silver, the commissioner, and some of his lieutenants and a couple of select owners fixed the lottery,
right?
And other owners found out about it. Again, it's fraud, it's racketeering, but it'd be interesting to hear him talk about exactly why that would be illegal.
Yeah, that's right. And how and not only how, I shouldn't say how legal, it's either illegal or it's not. But I mean, goodness gracious, can you imagine the fallout that would happen? So we'll certainly talk about that with Brett. Also, Lee Smith stops by our tour report with the executive director of the Players Championship. We have a major coming up. We have a Loser Monday coming up.
Wow.
Do you know who we picked again in the players? You have a list?
I do.
Okay.
It's.
I think I picked, what's that guy's name? Scheffler?
I think you might have.
Okay. So
I picked Hovland.
Okay.
No, you didn't. You picked Oberg.
Oh, Oberg. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Same guy.
Yeah, exactly.
Same guy.
Morikawa, I believe. But let me put. Yep. Okay. So JJ picked Ludwig Oberg.
Yeah.
You had Scotty Scheffler. I had Colin Morikawa.
Okay. So you guys are fine.
Rory's still up there.
Rory's still for all three.
Yeah, none of us were believers, and he ended up winning it.
And guess what? I think I lost most recently.
Yes, because
So-
you would have lost the NCAA.
Yeah,
This is the third one we've done.
Yeah.
Right?
So I lost most. So I picked first. Is that how
That's
that works?
right. Yep, you're on the clock.
Well, this will be hard.
Yeah.
This will be hard. The last one is hard. This will be hard.
You
I'll
would-
mark you down for Oberg.
Yeah, you and the Dallas Mavericks really struggling over what to do with the top pick.
Oh, this one will be hard. So,
Yeah.
so there is that.
Yeah, so it'll be you, then JJ, and then I'll go.
So there you go. So
I just hope that Keith Mitchell is still on the board at 3.
you love the former dog, no question about that. All right, so we got a lot of fun stuff to do. Glad you're with us on the program today. We're going to talk about the schedule release, and again, we don't know anything, but we're certainly going to tell you about how fun this day is. By the way, there's leaks everywhere. I'm watching leaks on Twitter here, leaks on Twitter there. There's no point in us telling you whether we think the leak is true or not, because all anyone's doing is guessing. And unless you have it and you're reading it, you're guessing it. And we're not going to sit here and act this way or act that way. So whatever leaks you want to follow and believe whatever you want to believe.
The only thing we're going to talk about is, and we talked about it yesterday, is that they're playing the Rams at Wembley Stadium.
Yeah, that's right. That's what we know. So, but we'll certainly talk about the fun and the trips and whatnot. We talked certainly about, and we'll talk with Brett Hastings and Lee Smith as our guests come in here. So I do want to talk about the PGA a little bit, apart from just visiting with Lee about it, but the significance of Rory winning. If he wins again,
it's magnificent. I mean, if he wins again, before you even get to the U.S. Open in British, it's one of the greatest years we've seen in 25 years. He'll have the Players, the Masters, and the PGA. I was surprised to see this stat. No one has won the Players and the Masters. I'm sorry, the Masters and the PGA in the same year since like the 70s. Nicholas did it, I believe, in 76.
Yep.
The Masters and the PGA in the same year. So I'm surprised. You would have thought Tiger would have done it
somewhere
at some point.
Somebody, yeah.
But yeah, if Rory gets it done, and look, I mean, it basically, they call it, I mean, kiddingly, the Rory McIlroy Country Club.
I know.
I mean, he just dominates at Quail Hollow.
No question about it. So we'll talk about that.
It was Nicholas in 75. I'm sorry. Won the Masters and the PGA in the same year. Last to do it.
Is Boogie Flan going to Florida?
Boy, it looks that way. And if that happens, I don't know if like a Kansas or a Kentucky will come in at the last minute and offer him $7 million.
With the big money.
Right. But if he ends up at Florida, they absolutely could go back to back.
Yeah,
absolutely could go back to back. This is a player that is a true freshman, was averaging over 15 points a game and 5 assists before he had the hand injury. And then he suffered the hand injury, came back for their final 3 games of the year off the bench. So that brought down his totals because his minutes just weren't very high. But before the injury that occurred right in I think it was against Florida. It was like the 3rd game of conference play.
Right.
It's averaging over 15 a game. I mean, you give Todd Golden that athlete with the front court and Xavier Lee, Florida could be every bit as scary as they were this past season.
It'll be very interesting to see the way the whole thing plays out. Again, it's got to happen at some point. I mean, the teams they do their off-season stuff pretty soon now. They start in June at some point, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But again, Boogie Flan seems to be in play for the name. I've read all these stories The only other team you see named is Kentucky. Well, he originally committed to Kentucky, then decommitted and went to Arkansas when Cal got fired and went to Arkansas because he wanted to go with Cal. I'm a little curious why, if he pulled his name out of the NBA, why not just go back to Arkansas?
I don't get that either.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's been really explained.
But it's clear he's not going to, unless at least that's all the narrative.
Because Arkansas, I mean, we've seen they have as much NIL money as anybody else in college basketball. So they're willing to spend. So it must be a fit standpoint.
Here's one thing I wonder. Calipari has 2 5-star guards coming in, 2 of the top McDonald's guys. I wonder if he committed to them that Fland would be gone to get him to come.
Could be.
Yeah. He told these 2 superstar guys, listen, what about Boogie Fland? He's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Well, what if he comes back? I'm not taking him back. And you just wonder.
Yeah.
I mean, I just wonder if that's in play.
It'd be hilarious if Kentucky pulls the Aberdeen deal and gives that money to Fland plus like $2 million more, $4.5 million to get Boogie Fland. And then Denzel Aberdeen has to figure out what he's going to do.
It did. I will say this. My guess is he's still going to be there. But I will say this. When he went there, if Oweh goes back, I think the belief is that he's not starting anyway.
Correct.
Does he become the 4th guard?
He might not even play. If Boogie Fland ended up at Kentucky, I mean, Denzel Aberdeen will be, he'll be the guy the students are chanting with 2 minutes left in the game and you're up on, Charleston
Like
State.
Tech. So, but I do wonder, it's going to be very interesting the way the thing plays out. So it'll be.
If Florida gets Boogie Fland, look out.
Yeah.
They're already going to be good.
Right.
But
they'll be very
that
good.
might be something that makes them pretty much impossible.
All right. Schedule release day is today. You hear it tonight at 8 o'clock. There's rumors all over. Believe whatever you want to believe. I know this in 4 hours. We certainly will know. Our PGA Tour update with our friend Lee Smith. It comes up at 5 o'clock. But when we come back from the break, Brett Hastings stops by. It is Sports in Courts. We finally now have a pretty good idea where this house settlement's going to go. What legal bullets did they duck by not running off these players? I think there's a very interesting story there. Brett will clear it up for us after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
Get Florida Gators play-by-play on 1010XL.
It's a battle of nationally ranked SEC powerhouses. Gators, Crimson Tide. Thursday night, Friday night, and Saturday afternoon on 1010 a.m.
May is Military Appreciation Month, and Nimnik proudly salutes the brave men and women who serve and have served this country. As a thank you, they're offering an additional $750 off select new Chevrolets, and every vehicle purchased at Nimnik supports K9s for Warriors. So from all the folks at Nimnik, thank you for service and sacrifice. It's also truck season at Nimnik. Did you know that? This month you can save up to $12,000 off a new Silverado or get financing rates as low as 0%. That's right, 0% financing. Now, unlike most dealerships, Nimnik Chevrolet has the largest inventory on the ground ready for you to explore. And with their extensive selection, you're sure to find your perfect truck at Nimnik. Available now, the all-new Silverado EV, designed to go the difference. So you get the deal. It's truck season. All kind of trucks available. And in May, we celebrate the military. That's what's going on at Nimnik. Head there today. Chevrolet, together let's drive.
Looking for that designer engagement ring like Tacori or Verragio? Then hear this. The only locally owned authorized dealer here for these exquisite rings is Beard's Diamonds. Beard's is your destination for the top names in bridal design. Tacori, Verragio, Sylvie, Gabriel & Company, Gnome Carver, and more. If she's seen it on Pinterest or in a bridal magazine, Beard's has it. Exquisite, handcrafted, and made in America. So you can get her the ring of her dreams without having to go to one of those national mega chain jewelers. At Beard's, there's no big company rules, no Wall Street sales goals, no impersonal service. The non-commissioned experts at Beard's Diamonds will take their time and let you see dozens of ring styles from all the most sought-after designers. Beard's is proud to be Jacksonville's premier jeweler for nearly 45 years. We're committed to this area and promise an authentic, refined, and risk-free experience without markups, without pricing games, without corporate red tape getting in the way of making you happy. Beard's Diamonds, Jacksonville's diamond store, at the shops at St. John's Town Center.
Frank Frangie here for Stanley Pools. If you're dreaming of putting in a pool this year, choosing the right company is the most important decision you'll make. I've trusted Stanley Pools to build my pool, renovate my pool, and maintain my pool. Stanley Pools has been the best in the business since 1988, and they're still family owned. Call them today at 904-269-7277 or find them online at stanleypoolsfl.com. That's Stanley Pools, a family tradition of fine swimming pools.
Rotator cuff injuries are common among athletes and those who have physically demanding careers. Don't let this injury keep you away from the sport you love. Dr. George Barry here, and the first thing you need to do with a serious shoulder injury is to diagnose where the damage is and how significant it is. Rotator cuff tears are either acute tears sustained during an injury or accident, or degenerative tears. If you're interested in learning more about rotator cuff repair and how our expert team of orthopedic surgeons can help you, call Barry Orthopedics today or visit barryorthopedics.com.
As a Florida homeowner, you're no stranger to mosquito problems. And although it's tempting to use DIY methods to get rid of them, mosquitoes are relentless. That's why it's important to enlist the help of the mosquito experts at Florida Pest Control. At Florida Pest Control, we offer specialized treatment solutions that are effective against mosquito infestations and are committed to keeping our customers protected year-round. For your free quote, give us a call or visit flapest.com today. Florida Pest Control, your local mosquito control experts.
For the greenest, luscious lawn on the block, choose the local legends, Roundtree Sod. Don't just settle for ordinary. Let Roundtree Sod deliver you a picture-perfect lawn. To get a free estimate, call 7414-SOD. 7414-SOD.
Take a radio boat ride with Captain Cabin on the Ring Power Fishing Forecast Show. Reeled in by the Pest Pros at Royal Pest Services and awaken 180 weight loss.
Thursday nights at 6
on 1010XL AM.
Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town, setting the standard in our hometown. Quality service, the best around. Coolidge is the cat that cares about your heating and about your air. Cool Cats Heating and Cooling, the coolest cats in town.
Mia here for my friends at Closets by Design. It's been a few months since they built my custom closet. Even my family is obsessed. And with Father's Day right around the corner, why not surprise Dad with his own custom garage workspace? Tool storage, workbenches, the whole works. Closets by Design creates custom solutions for every space, lifestyle, and budget. That includes Dad's. Call to schedule your free in-home consultation and receive 40% off plus an additional 15% off. Visit closetsbydesign.com.
I'm Julie Harrell. I grew up here in Jacksonville and have seen our city grow as well as the number of car crashes. If you need help after a crash, choose a law firm with an actual office here. Lawyers you can meet with face-to-face and who specialize in personal injury. At Harrell & Harrell, we've been here for nearly 40 years, developing relationships with local doctors, law enforcement, helping people just like you. If you've been injured in a crash, call Harrell & Harrell. Offices, Jacksonville.
It's E.T. here, and did you know that slow speed accidents can still cause serious injuries? Ignoring minor pain today can mean big problems tomorrow. Don't wait. Call my guys at McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation Center, the auto accident experts.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now time for Sports and Courts, legal issues in the sports world with Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Hit back with Hastings.
Brett Hastings is here. Can I tell you about a text I got from Hastings yesterday?
Absolutely.
So we always talk about sports and courts and what we're going to do, and Brett has a great idea. He comes up with ideas that he knows listeners will want to hear. So we talked about it during the day, and then I get another text, okay? So I think he's adjusting what we're going to do on sports and courts, okay? I'm pretty convinced that's what it's going to. Wouldn't you think that?
Yeah.
Hang on, I got to find
Calling an audible.
Okay. So
Omaha.
And so I'm pretty convinced we're this all we have sports and courts. So I pulled up my phone and looked at my text, because when your lawyer texts you, it's got to be important. You want to make sure you didn't do anything wrong, right?
That's right.
The text. Did you know Mike Miller's Boogie Flan's agent? That's the text I get from my lawyer yesterday. So
good gator.
Well, and the funny thing is, my son Reed, who had spent a bunch of time with Frank when we were out in San Antonio and just talking and going over the stuff, goes, "You better make sure Frank knows this." I go,
which
Frank
I did,
already knows it.
I did not know it.
So good.
And now that I know that, let me just say what it said at the break. I need two things from Mike Miller. Okay, just two. I need a runner late in the game against Butler. and I need Boogie Flan.
Yeah.
Can I get those?
Oh, you're halfway there.
I got one of them.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of rosters, you just want a guy named Boogie on your roster, right? I mean, then he's a 5-star all-world. Let's go.
I know he was named Boogie because he used to dance. The reason I know that is once I saw this rumor, I've read 17 stories about it. Okay. So that's a true story. So there's that. Now that's me coming full disclosure for you. All right. One last time, let's look at this House settlement. I think we know where it's headed now. Everybody's pretty much agreed. But the one thing the judge said is, I'll agree to everything, but I'm not letting you just kick these players off the roster because you want to make the roster smaller. I'm going to protect these players, which is good. And so number one is that it's really that simple, isn't it?
It is. And in the law, aside from sports, this is something that we typically see, right? Is that once something's going to be put in place from a rule perspective, typically we see it done by legislatures or whatever, right? They'll pass a law and say, hey, that goes into effect on January the 1st, or what have you, so that people can acclimate and they can get themselves set up. Here, when you look at it, this is all of these different types of sports that are going on with the NCAA. So I think this was more about some of the small schools and everything. Football, it doesn't really affect the way the numbers go, but basketball, it would affect. It looks like there'd probably be 2 kids or 2 young ladies, on the female side that there would no longer be scholarships for, and so they'd pull them down to the roster. And I think the judge was saying, all of these people, I want to see them be taken care of, get them through school, get them out, and then the roster, limits are going to be hard going forward.
Because the other side of this, I told Hays I was going to ask you this when you got here. Okay, I'm throwing numbers out. Let's say the roster limit used to be 40 for baseball, and now it's 35 or whatever. Okay, so I'm player number 38.
It was 40, and now it's going to be 34.
Okay, so it's 40 and 34. Okay, so all right. I'm a player. I went to Florida to play baseball. I got a little bit of money. I got a percentage, and my life is carved out. Well, now that this thing passed, it went to 34, so I'm kicked off the team. Did I have a lawsuit? Could I have sued Florida, the NCAA, anybody?
It wouldn't be the NCAA. Really, they're following a court order. Now, granted, this is a court order after a settlement, so that would kind of open you up, to the potential of a lawsuit. Really, here, the protection was as it related to scholarships. And because the scholarships were typically 1 year, right? Yeah. Like they were 1 year contracts, I don't think it would be it'd be hard to bring the lawsuit individually, but I think everybody could have brought that as a class and shown that, as a result of the way this rule was put into place and it was settled amongst the parties, that they were essentially affected as a third party. And I think that would be something, in a class realm that would be a successful lawsuit, be probably harder just to bring it individually yourself from an economic standpoint.
It seems like it was poorly thought out because as they were designing it, because when you're cutting people immediately, it would seem like you would realize, well, a judge probably isn't going to grant that. Why don't we put language in here that protects current athletes and does sort of grandfather their protection in this until they've aged out and then we can get to the limit.
Well, and think about it, though. It's not really like the students were at the bargaining table per se. These lawyers who were representing this group of students went in, and so they tried to advocate to the extent they could, but it wasn't like a collective bargaining, type of a thing. And so, they were really trying to go and get this money, right? So there's, literally billions of dollars that are going to be paid out to certain players in regards to their NIL. And now we're going to have the money that's going to be earmarked going forward, this $21 million that we, are hearing about, as that goes on. But the thing that the schools were really wanting, I think, were these roster limits, right? To have these hard numbers. And I think a little bit for the big schools and institutions wanted to see, the person who was probably the most aggressive with scholarships and the guys that would be there was Saban, right? Like you never heard of gray shirting and they were signing guys and then they would tell guys to leave, but he'd have a large prospective pool of players more than anybody else. And so that's going to go down to 105. And then you go and, the new limit is 105 players. Now, remember before it was 85 scholarships, and then you had just sort of a group of guys who might be a walk-on or a Kermani McLean or whatever. But, this sort of leaves it open to take that money to take care of these people and then have this 105 hard number. And so with football, you're going from 85 scholarships up to 105 on the roster limit. So it's not as impacted. But, baseball, lacrosse, golf, there's a roster limit of 9 now as well. So that's going to go down and sort of be hard going forward.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Once this all happens, the obvious next question, we've asked it a bunch of times, is this the end? Or
absolutely not.
So it isn't, is it?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's just who knows what the rosters are going to look like and what the pay for play is going to look like.
I think the rosters will say there, but like you said, the pay for play, it's not pay for play. It's pay for your name, image, and likeness, and that is it's a facade.
Right.
It's not real. So we're going to get to a point of you're going to get paid to play, and when you're paid to do a sports talk radio show, and when you're paid to go try a case, you are an employee, right? And so they are employees. And in the law, there's a lot that come with employees, right? Are you required to have workers' compensation for these employees, right? What other benefits are going to come, in those regards? How are we going to have administrative tribunals within the school to deal with employment issues related to playing for Florida State and for Florida? And so that none of that is resolved to this point, and I think it's just sort of an eventuality. We had a way that we went about doing sports, but I can tell you right now, the NFL violates antitrust. Major League Baseball violates antitrust, but we have carve-outs as it relates. Is there some upstart league going to turn it upside down with, the NFL? They're not. I don't see that happening as we go forward. But in theory, that's the way it is. Now, we focus so much on the Floridas, the Florida States, the Ohio States, and the Georgias of the world. But these rules are matriculating all the way down, and they're affecting UNF and JU, and they're affecting Stetson and Eastern Washington University, and some of those other ones. And so in large part, I think that's what the judge was doing there. And, the Eastern Washington guard, good if he's getting $5,000 in NIL, right? What are they paying that person there? And so I think eventually we've got to address, this 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is, are these athletes employees? And then eventually they're going to be treated differently at Eastern Washington than you are at Georgia, right? Because, and the thing that I think will push this is, what's going to be interesting is what's to stop St. John's from using all $21 million of the money they get and just put it on basketball, right? Because they're not worried.
You said that
about being the everything school,
Hayes,
right?
Hayes, you said that,
and they're not the only ones. Anybody in the Big East, is going to that doesn't field a football team. Villanova,
or what's going to stop Kansas or Kentucky from saying sorry, our football team?
Sure,
but we're doing this. We're a basketball school, Indiana.
Right.
So,
and I think the money, as I understand it, unless you guys read the reports, which is really pretty shocking, is there's $21 million of really NIL money that Kentucky used, right? I don't think they earmarked, all the rest of it. Right. And so that's what's going to happen. And I think what everybody else is going to want is to, have these oversight commissions get in place. I mean, I think that's going to be the thing. You say, is it over? I think there's going to be so much of getting how we're going to govern it figured out. We don't have rules right now. We just know we have a, quote, governing group.
Yeah, and that's the way it's been. All right, so we've got a little bit of closure. You had a question for Brett about the whole is the NBA thing fixed? Is the lottery fixed? Explain. It was an interesting question. Right. You said you were going to ask Brett, and then I know y'all talked during the break, but for our listeners, share the question. It's a good one.
Yeah, so obviously the Mavericks win the lottery with a 1.8% chance, and everybody's connecting the dots about, well, they traded Luka to the Lakers, and then the league as a favor fixed the lottery so that the Mavericks would get Cooper Flagg. What would be the legal exposure that Commissioner Adam Silver would have if it was found out that the lottery was rigged?
Yeah, I mean, he personally could be sued for fraud. This accounting agency that comes out there all the time and they go, whoever, and I don't know who it is, Ernst & Young, right, whatever, they're here to ensure that everything done in the lottery is, say all of them could be sued for fraud. But what I think would be interesting is it would be the other teams that would go and sue, right? It would be the Utah Jazz. It would be those three other teams that had the highest probability to win, to go in and say, wow, this guy could have been a game changer, right? And I think Cooper Flagg's going to be really good, but how good is he, right? But what if you were in the lottery that got rigged and Chicago got Jordan, right? Yeah. I mean, that's a game changer over time. And I think the really big thing is those other teams, there would be potential damages because you would undermine the integrity of the league. If they would be willing to do something like that, is every game thrown? Do we make sure that big market teams win in the playoffs, what have you? It would be an absolute catastrophe. I don't believe it's the case. I hope it's not the case. But you see some of those stats where, every time somebody had left, the next year that team happened to win the lottery, and those years were really low percentages. It makes you think. I sure hope it's not the case.
Yeah, because I would just think you wouldn't, no matter how much you want to help, you wouldn't risk the credibility forever of your league. I mean, more than the, because it's a great question. When you asked the question, I wondered the same thing. The problem, Brett made a great point. Well, the only people that could sue you were people that are on your team. That's other owners. You're all kind of in the same.
But you don't think they would be prosecuted for fraud or racketeering, anything like that? The commissioner, if it's.
I don't believe so, but you have to know some specifics about how far they went to go do that, and the actions that they would take. Were they signing affidavits to certify that it was, and would that open them up to perjury? I do think there would be a way to criminally go and to prosecute them. But, outside of the league, from a civil standpoint, those would be, the potential plaintiffs as you look at it. But, yeah, I mean, if you went as far to go to effectuate that, you had to certify things, you had to sign things under oath, or, make some other representations, that's how you could individually be prosecuted.
All right, Brett Hastings from the Hastings Injury Law Firm. Great work as always. Thanks, buddy. We pray. And keep an eye on Boogie Flan for me, will you?
You guys stay on the schedule. I'll stay on Boogie. All right?
We'll take a break. More in a moment. 1010 92.5 FM.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
For some people, waking up is the hardest part of the day.
It's 0600. What's the O stand for? Oh, it's early.
That's why Dan and Jeff energize your morning.
Oh, yes!
Like an energy drink without the crash. The Drill. Mornings on 1010XL.
Hi, folks. I'm Frank Frangie. If you have a sweet tooth like me, the sweetest desserts in town come from Spoonful Bakery. Spoonful is an online bakery. They deliver boxes of assorted desserts right to your home or office. They're so good, and they make for great gifts for friends or clients. And if you want custom orders, wedding cakes or birthday cakes, or catered desserts for an event, they are the best. Log on to spoonful-bakery.com or call them at 904-515-4984. That's Spoonful Bakery for the sweetest desserts in town.
This is Hays Carlyon for Harold and Harold. I was at lunch with my good friend Holt, and he was telling me that sometimes a lawyer can get more from a case than their own client. I was surprised to hear this, but Holt said that doesn't happen with Harold and Harold. They'll never take a fee that is greater than their own client. When they say they treat their clients as a person and not a file, they mean it. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold and Harold at 904-251-1111. That's 904-251-1111.
Hi, it's Frank Frangie. Look, when it comes to glass, there's one name I trust, and that's Lee & Case Glass. Mirrors, custom showers, tabletops, even foggy glass windows, they handle all that. And they've been doing it right since long before I ever picked up a mic. Local, family-owned, and part of this community, just like we are. They've taken great care of me, including our brand-new walk-off offices. Guys, they did a great job, and I promise they'll do the same for you. Lee & Case, it's the clear choice. Check them out at leeandcaseglass.com.
This is Mike Lynch, PGA Golf Professional. Take it from me. If you're dealing with an orthopedic issue, talk to the doctors at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where you're treated like a pro.
This is Dr. Kevin Murphy with Southeast Orthopedic Specialists, where athletes are treated like pros. Thanks to all of you who have allowed us to be part of your recovery. Call us at Southeast Orthopedic Specialists if you ever have a need.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
Are you thinking about a pool for your home? Blue Haven Pools is Jacksonville's largest pool builder. They've built pools for over 20,000 satisfied families since 2000. It's never been easier to design the perfect pool for your home, family, and budget. Call Blue Haven Pools today at 904-620-0090 to get a free in-home estimate for your in-ground pool, or visit bluehaven.com. Don't let another summer pass by without a pool. Join thousands of happy Jacksonville pool owners in a Blue Haven pool.
Listen to whatever you like, whenever you want.
I like this.
1010XL on demand. Ad-free shows after the live shows end. Shadowed by Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic and Air Conditioning. Search where you find podcasts.
It's the perfect day. You're just driving along, listening to your favorite music, the windows down. There's a cool breeze. Life is good. But wait, hold on a second. You're not wearing a seatbelt? You'd better put that on before that... Uh-oh, too late. Cops everywhere are stepping up enforcement, so you'd better buckle up or you will get caught. Sorry to ruin your day. Click it or ticket.
Funded by the Florida Department of Transportation. And welcome back to another episode of Potty Talk with our current champion. So what's your secret to your perfect plumbing proficiency?
It's simple, really. Roland Reach Plumbing is always the right answer.
Roland Reach Plumbing, 260-7059.
What does your dream backyard look like? Hey, it's Joe C. and my friends at CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living can design an outdoor kitchen layout custom built to your taste and lifestyle. You dream it, they can build it. CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. Visit cssoutdoor.com.
Hey, it's Matt Hays here with a challenge. A challenge might not be the best choice in words, so let's say an opportunity. Take the opportunity to lose 40 by the 4th with Awaken 180. It sounds a little different when you put a real goal to it, doesn't it? Maybe you looked at the scale this morning and it read 230 pounds. How about a reading 190 by the 4th? Maybe the scale says 300. Wouldn't the number 260 be a little nicer on your eyes and on your joints? It's attainable if you have the same results we all had with Awaken 180. I dropped 40 pounds in 9 weeks. Hacker dropped his first 40 in just 6 weeks. Dempsey, Blue, and everyone else I know, same results. And we've kept it off. The best thing about Awaken 180 weight loss, it will completely change the way you think, see, and feel about food. The results are real, attainable, and the process simple with Awaken 180. Take the opportunity and drop 40 by the 4th. It all starts with just one call to Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Call 844-346-1800 or online at awaken180weightloss.com.
This Saturday, Navy Mutual would like to salute all men and women that serve in our armed forces. In 1949, President Truman designated the third Saturday in May as Armed Forces Day due to the unification of all 5 branches of our military into the Department of Defense.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it, too.
Man, my friends at Coyle & Sons are so good. My buddy Eric bought the company, and man, have they grown that thing. Look, they've done it since 1927. They've always done commercial fencing, but now residential fencing is blowing up there. 0% financing, by the way, if you want to get involved in the residential fencing, and no one's going to do a better job. I promise you. They've done work for us at Walk Off Charities. They built a batter's eye for us that is 30 feet high and about 75 feet wide, and they did it in no time, and it's magnificent. So trust me when I tell you this. If you need a fence, if you need fencing at your home or your business, call this number, 904-356-4821. You can trust them. They're local folks. Or go on to Coyle, that's C-O-Y-L-E, CoyleJacks.com, the best fencing company in town, and one I'm proud to be a spokesperson for, Coyle & Sons Fencing. Frangie and Carlyon with you, JJ La Selva as well. As we continue on, the schedule will be released in about 2.5 hours. Am I counting right? No, 3.5. Listen, it's math, okay? I didn't go to bowls, all right? So go easy on me there.
You're doing fine.
I was close, okay?
Yeah.
I only missed it by an hour, so that's good. A lot of things to get to today. We'll talk some golf coming up with our friend Lee Smith. Lee's on his way in here. He'll be in studio. Can't wait to talk some golf with him. A couple things. Let's clean up a couple other things. Derrick Henry got a 2-year deal. Did you see this?
Yeah.
A two-year extension for $30 million 25 of it is guaranteed for a 31-year-old back. Good for him.
Oh, and great for the Ravens.
Great for the Ravens.
Great business decision.
And I don't care about the Ravens, but I certainly care about him.
Sure.
A local guy, what a wonderful, wonderful story, and what a star, man. When
he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, he's a no doubt Hall of Famer. Beyond that, I believe in all my heart, when he's done, he will be talked about as one of the greatest running backs in the history of the sport. I mean, obviously, I guess Hall of Famer tells you that. But, I mean, even beyond that, as far as power backs, okay, Jim Brown's the greatest. And there will be there will never be – no one will trump that. No, the most powerful, best powerful running back in the history of the sport will always be Jim Brown.
Agreed.
That'll never be. Other than that, this guy might be next. He might be the next best physical back in the history of the National Football League by the time it's over.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. I think if you were starting a roster from scratch and you could pull anybody that's ever played in the NFL, I think Derrick Henry would be very high up on building your team from a running back standpoint. Certainly it would be beauties in the eye of the beholder. But if I can have Derrick Henry, I love Barry Sanders. I mean, I love Emmitt Smith as players. How could you not? But if you can give me Derrick Henry, if you can give me 240 pounds and 4.4 speed with his instincts and his toughness and durability, I think I'd take him.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't see Earl Campbell.
Yeah.
So I can't, and obviously I've seen just clips of Jim Brown, but obviously the historians of the game are very clear. Jim Brown is the best running back to ever do it. So I'm certainly not going to disagree with that, even though I never saw him play.
Right.
But, you think about guys like Earl Campbell.
I would take Derrick Henry over Earl Campbell.
I would too.
And Earl Campbell was magnificent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so in terms of a power back.
And I'm glad you brought him up because he'd be the other guy in the conversation, wouldn't he?
Yeah. I mean, I think if
Eric Dickerson was very big, but he was a 230-pound speed back.
Right.
He's a great player.
Oh, absolutely.
But you didn't think of him as a run over people guy, even though he did.
Right. I mean, obviously we've seen Derrick Henry. The other thing too is we've seen it in person. Forget even that he's a local, here. Just seeing him in person for all those years, he's a physical marvel. I mean, an absolute physical marvel what he does to NFL defenders. And I mean, and he had obviously a brilliant year last year in Baltimore. There was, talk when the Titans wanted to move on in his age of how effective would he be? Well, he had one of the best seasons he's ever had. And I think, again, you don't normally give an extension to a 31-year-old, but I mean, he shows no signs of wearing down. I wouldn't, if I put the over-under on Derrick Henry rushing yards this year at 1,500, would you go over or under?
Over.
I would too.
I would go, and it sounds crazy if I set the over and under at 1,500 rushing yards for a 31-year-old back, but I would not. Let me re-answer that. I'd go over without thinking twice.
I would too.
Yeah, 1,500.
Yeah, which is obviously an incredible year.
Yeah.
So he's one of the best to ever do it, and I think sometimes there's elements of greatness, and again, I'll use Emmitt Smith. Emmitt Smith is obviously a first ballot Hall of Famer, deservedly so. Holds the career rushing record. I would take Derrick Henry over Emmitt Smith. And I saw them both play. And it pains me to say that because Emmitt Smith was my favorite player, bar none, growing up. But I would take Derrick Henry over Emmitt Smith.
I would too. And I loved Emmitt Smith. And look, Emmitt Smith played on better teams than Derrick Henry ever did. But I would.
And I might take him over Barry Sanders simply because I would prefer, if I was building a team, I'd rather have Henry's style than Sanders' style, even though Sanders is probably the most amazing running back I've seen in my lifetime.
So to your question, to the point, there's very few backs in our lifetimes, or certainly your lifetime, that you would ever take ahead of him?
I take him over Jerome Bettis.
That's not even close.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking of guys in the last 25 years.
Yeah.
I take him over Adrian Peterson.
And by the way, now that's a great back.
Yeah, but I'd rather have Derrick Henry.
I would too, but that one gave me pause.
Yeah.
That's the AP would give me pause more than the others. But I would too. I'd take Derrick Henry. Maybe it's because I'm scarred from all the stiff arms that I've called.
Right.
Okay. I mean, at some point, it's the home play-by-play guy. You don't want to keep calling the stiff arm.
Yeah.
Maybe you can just say he's loose along the left sideline, right? But maybe that's it.
Yeah.
He certainly held up better than Peterson.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And obviously that has to play a role. I mean, I'd take him over Frank Gore, who's got way more rushing yardage.
But there's no question.
Yeah, but I would rather have Derrick Henry if I was starting a team tomorrow.
I'm trying to think of backs I've watched. And again, everybody's style is different. To your point, nobody was more fun to watch than no modern day guy was more fun to watch than Barry Sanders. He was Gale Sayers, and even I'm not old enough to really appreciate Gale Sayers. I was a little kid when he was doing all that stuff, and he didn't play very long. But and then he got hurt. Everyone knows. And Gale Sayers now was Barry Sanders before Barry Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
Gale Sayers was pretty remarkable.
Absolutely.
But in terms of backs in my lifetime, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that there's. If you could have one guy at age 24 on the whole starting a franchise thing people talk about, boy, there's not many I would take. There's not many I would take ahead of him. I mean, the modern day backs, yeah, there's not many. If you go through all the backs in the hall.
Yeah, I mean, I'll just start with we've already talked about Emmitt Smith, and we both would take Henry over him. This one's tough, but I think I'm taking Derrick Henry over Sweetness.
Yeah.
Who's second, obviously.
Yeah, that one is tough.
That one's tough.
That's the one I don't know that I'll come with you on.
Yeah, I get it.
That one's hard. I don't know if I'm taking him over Sweetness.
Frank Gore's third. I would definitely take Derrick Henry.
Not even
over
close.
Gore.
No, that was not even close.
Barry Sanders, it's really tough, but I would take Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
We talked about Adrian Peterson, who's fifth. I mean, Curtis Martin is sixth. Yeah. That's not even a tough call for me.
I'll tell you what.
I would take Derrick Henry over Curtis Martin.
Here's what's funny.
And Bettis is eighth on that list.
The best backs I watched that noticed, and a buddy of mine just brought up the name, and I thought the same thing. The best backs that I have watched in my lifetime, okay, really watched. O.J. Simpson, who's unbelievable. I mean, Jim Brown, I was a little kid. I couldn't really appreciate Jim Brown. Fred Taylor, who's unbelievable. Emmitt Smith, but Emmitt Smith didn't have the athleticism that O.J. Simpson and Fred Taylor didn't have that. Fred Taylor was a remarkable athlete at 235 pounds. Remarkable athlete. And so, but yeah, Derrick Henry.
Adrian Peterson got to be on that list.
Yeah, he is. No question. You're of course he is. Of course he's on that list. So, but
I would take Derrick Henry over him.
Yeah,
I mean, and Peterson's fifth on the rushing list. Just to give you guys an idea, so Derrick Henry right now is 19th all time. If he were to have 1,500 yards, let's just say he's got 11,423 right now. If he gets, let's say he puts up 1,500, that gets him to 12.9.
I think in 2 seasons he'd crack the top 10.
Well, if he gets 1,500 this year, he will be 10th. He will go ahead of Tony Dorsett. Okay. So he has a chance to get into the top 10 this year with a big year. But yeah, I mean, I for how he plays the game and the challenges that he presents to your linebackers and your defensive backs, I would take Derrick Henry.
Yeah. So and again, the storyline is the fact that he's still doing it. That's pretty amazing. Other NFL,
he might do it until he's 36.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, honestly, in 5 years, he might be. I've always thought Emmitt Smith's record could never be touched.
Right.
And I still don't think he'll get there.
Right.
But if he has the Frank Gore longevity, Derrick Henry will absolutely, and playing with Lamar Jackson right next to him, I mean, as long as he stays healthy, he will have the opportunity to run for 1,500 to 2,000 yards every year as a Raven.
Well, and to that end, and what if you follow the evidence? What morsel of evidence is there that he's slowing down?
None.
I mean, honestly, other than history tells you that you're supposed to slow down at 31. But as far as with him, if you watched last year, there's no evidence that he's not. I mean, he almost won the rushing title. You know, if Saquon Barkley didn't have that ridiculous year.
Yeah, had one of the best years we've ever seen.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, so, it really did. So, interesting stuff. So, other things in the NFL, it's been announced now. The Cowboys, Commanders, and the Lions, Vikings play on Christmas Day. That's pretty good. Would you say?
That is very good. And we get Chiefs, Cowboys on Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
which is
and Chiefs are also on Christmas. They
yes,
play the Broncos as the night game.
The Chiefs are not going to have a lot of family time this holiday season. They will be working Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Well, they'll be part of our family because we'll all be watching.
We'll all be watching and pulling for the other team.
That's exactly right. All right, we got a lot more to do. I want to take a break. I want to get into golf. My friend Lee Smith stops by. He's the executive director of the Players Championship, the best golf analyst I know. I think this run, and I'll share this with Lee, this run by Rory, not that golf didn't need to come to life. It already was there. But I think because he's the most popular player in the world, because he's playing like right now as the best player in the world, because he's winning these championships of significance, I think this is blowing up golf. Not that golf wasn't, you know what I mean? This is fantastic. I mean, I can't look. The PGA is my least favorite of the majors, and particularly when it was in the summer. You know, it always was. But even still, it's way less favorite to me than the Players. So I don't even know that I like it more than the Tour Championship stuff at the end. But I can't wait to watch now. Are you like that?
Oh, this is going to be phenomenal 4 days of drama.
I mean, if he's in the leaders, if he's among the leaders,
which he will be.
Of course he will be. I mean, it would barring injury or something.
A bad week for Rory this week is T9.
Yeah, you would think.
That's
right?
a bad week for Rory McIlroy this week. That's how good he is at Quail.
So I think this is going to be, it does. I mean, it's got NHL and NBA competition, but
I mean
but I mean, this will be. I would think the ratings for this thing, if Rory McIlroy gets off to a good start, I would think the weekend ratings for this event will be just ridiculous. Wouldn't you think?
I would completely agree.
All right, let's take a break. Lee Smith stops by to talk golf after this. Stay with us.
It's the ride home with the Frangie Show. From the Harrell and Harrell studio, don't settle for less than you deserve.
From the Senior Bowl to the Combine, Draft, Minicamp, Training Camp, Preseason, Regular Season, where they go, we go. 1010XL.
This is Richard Miller with your Showtime Sports Cards and Collectibles update. This Saturday is our monthly card show inside Showtime, one of the few in-store card shows in the state of Florida. Saturday, 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., shop with our local vendors. Stop by our card show this Saturday. We hope to see you from 9 to 4 inside Showtime. Sports Cards and Collectibles. Update your collection.
This is Hays Carlyon for Kingfish Pest Control. Mosquito season is upon us, but don't let them take over. The secret to a bite-free yard is starting today with Kingfish Pest Control. Their 3-step mosquito defense process stops them before they can spread. Eliminate breeding areas. Build a protective barrier around your yard and monthly treatments to keep them away all season long. The earlier you start, the fewer mosquitoes you'll have to fight. Don't let those pests ruin your outdoor fun. Call Kingfish Pest Control, proud partner of the Jaguars.
Mike Dempsey here. Look, you know, it's been 10 years that I've been vouching for my guys at Dandy Boots, and for a decade, I'm proud of my association with a local family business. They make a great product. I've made no secret that I was a customer long before Dandy ever came on board on 1010XL. But I'm thinking I'm due a little Dandy swag, maybe a little love. How about a Dandy t-shirt, a ball cap? So how about it, Thompson family? What do you got going on over there? In the meantime, I'm going to keep eating those delicious tuna salad sandwiches. So guys, keep helping me out and grab a Dandy sandwich today.
Your yard starting to look a little like a jungle? Well, it might be time for a little TLC. Or how about RTC, Russell Tree Care? At Russell Tree Care, they give your trees the perfect haircut. Whether it's trimming or removing, they'll make sure your yard looks its best, all while keeping safety as a top priority. Call Russell Tree Care today and let them take care of your trees. Russell Tree Care, 844-4Mr. Wood. That's 844-467-9663. Or visit RussellTreeCareLLC.com today. Your trees will thank you.
Got a leaky faucet? AC blowing hot air? No worries, Rooter has your back. Call 904-862-6769 or visit DuckDuckRooter.com. Rooter, plumbing, septic, AC, and a whole lot of quacking good service.
The calls have been pouring in.
It's the strongest phone connection on the First Coast. The Checkmate Coatings phone line covers you with expert interviews from around the country and your opinions and comments from here at home. All day, every day on 1010XL.
Prosser here for Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. With the weather starting to turn for the better, look ahead. Get that backyard ready for spring with a new screened-in enclosure. Maximize the space you have and make it great with Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. They truly are best in the business. If you have the space and the idea, give them a call today. Lifetime Enclosures and Lifetime Flooring. Showroom just off Phillips Highway. Tell them Prosser sent you. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
I'm here with Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. Clayton, I know you're the head diamond buyer at Underwoods, and you travel to the markets to buy diamonds. Why don't you just look at an emailed list and have them send you the diamond?
Frank, there are a couple of reasons we go straight to the source when we're selecting the diamonds we want to put the Underwood name on. First, as an expert diamond buyer, I have to see a diamond before I can really judge its beauty versus the price it's being offered at. Second, when we're at the source, we have huge selections to choose our diamonds from, so we don't have to compromise the Underwood quality standard. The result is we control what goes into our diamond stock instead of allowing a diamond dealer to send us what he wants us to have. The bottom line is we're able to offer our customers carefully selected, beautiful diamonds that we're proud to have carry the Underwood name.
Underwoods, serving excellence since 1928 in San Marco, Avondale, and the shops of Ponte Vedra.
DivorceMenOnly.com. This is Kenny Lay of Kenny Lay & Associates. Our firm specializes in representing men in family law. That's all we do. That's our only focus. We can help with all of your family law needs, such as divorce, custody, alimony, and child support. For over a decade, we have helped thousands of men with these types of issues. We even have an appellate division ready to challenge a judge's ruling. If you need a family law attorney, go to DivorceMenOnly.com. DivorceMenOnly.com. Offices, Jacksonville.
For 120 years, Ford has been committed to doing the right thing for America. And we're not going anywhere. That's why Ford assembles more vehicles in the U.S. than any other automaker and employs the most hourly auto workers in the country. That's not a boast, it's a pledge to the Americans who drive our vehicles and the capable people who build them, because our values can't be offshored. We do it for the people who make America. Workers, farmers, first responders, communities. As long as America depends on them, they can depend on us. Ford Motor Company. From America, for America.
Based on S&P Global Mobility calendar year 2024 U.S. light vehicle production data. Assembled in the USA with domestic and foreign parts. Based on 2024 year-end hourly employment data.
David here with Royal Pest Services. Man, don't let your yard be torn up by that heavy aeration machine this spring. Visit RoyalPestServices.com to learn more about our granular aeration. Broadcast throughout the tree and shrubs to break up that compacted soil. Visit RoyalPestServices.com.
I'm Max Fink with your 1010XL Southeast Orthopedic Specialist local sports update, brought to you by Tucker Equipment Rentals. According to Fox's Jordan Schultz, the Jaguars will open up their season on week 1 here in Jacksonville at the Bank, as they'll face Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. They'll also take on the Los Angeles Rams on October 19th in Wembley Stadium as their London game for the season. For the Jaguars' full schedule release, all their games will be dropping tonight at 8 p.m., so stay tuned to find out the Jaguars' complete schedule later on today. Florida Gators women's lacrosse team is just 1 day away from their quarterfinal matchup as they head to Durham to take on the 15th-ranked Duke Blue Devils tomorrow at 2:30, looking to get back in the semifinals for the second straight season. It's 87 degrees at 4:58. Time and temperature brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL is presented by Farrah & Farrah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Back to a Coyle & Sons Wednesday. Since 1927, they've been around the block and probably fenced it too.
We sure appreciate our friends from Coyle and Sons. They have done it since 1927. Man, oh man, they do it. I told you earlier, they fence commercial properties and now residential properties. So call them at 904-356-4821. Also overhead doors for your business, bathroom partitions. They do so much. If you need it, you ought to give them a call. Even if you're not sure they do it, call them at 904-356-4821. CoyleJacks.com. That's COYLE. My buddy Lee Smith walked in from the Players Championship. How are you, man?
Doing well. Really good.
I'm excited about this weekend's golf, man. I mean, I told Hays a minute ago, look, the PGA doesn't move the needle for me as much as the other major. I don't know why. It just doesn't. But all the Rory stuff, I mean, if there's ever been appointment viewing, man, this is really it, don't you think?
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think most everyone would think the PGA Championship is kind of fourth in line of the major. Well, let's call it fifth in line. We've got the Players Championship here, right? But when it comes to the quote unquote majors, but yeah, the excitement of Rory kicking off, Scotty coming back, a Rory Bryson redo from Augusta could be a lot of fun. Obviously, there's some young guns playing in the golf tournament. You got a 156 player field, a great venue. I think there's a lot to be excited about this PGA Championship, and hope it delivers.
Absolutely, and fireworks early with that great grouping with Scheffler, Rory, and Xander all together starting tomorrow morning early.
Yeah, the PGA always does a really good job of putting some groupings together. 1, 2, 3 in the world, and some of those types of things. Past champions, multi-time PGA champions, all of that type of thing. I always like how the PGA has a little fun with the pairings.
Lee, tell people that don't know, because you've obviously been on both sides of the road here, about the PGA of America, how it differs from the PGA Tour. And give a little bit of a quick background for you. I could try, but you'll do it way better than I would. Tell me.
Yeah, it is confusing. So the PGA Tour and the PGA of America are two separate entities. They used to be one. In 1968, they broke off, and the touring players created their own PGA Tour. And the club professionals kept with the organization of the PGA of America that started in 1916. So simplified, the PGA Tour brings professional golf to the masses, and the PGA of America brings club professionals, teaches golf, those types of things at the club level. I am a member of the PGA of America and an employee of the PGA Tour to add confusion to all of that. The PGA Tour runs, all of the events throughout the year, and then the PGA of America actually runs the PGA Championship and the Ryder Cup.
In terms of looking at Jordan Spieth going for the career Grand Slam, I don't give him, and it seems like this is sort of universal, I don't think any of us expect that Jordan Spieth will necessarily win this week, but he is trending a little bit better. We talked about, I think, JT's resurgence serves as a little bit of a motivator for Jordan Spieth, and seeing Rory just accomplish it. Jordan was very open about, seeing him accomplish the feat at Augusta has, motivated me. Do you give him any kind of chance Sunday to have a crack at this thing?
Yeah, look, I think he's coming in with some momentum of having a great final round. I think his candor in his presser that he said, if I could win one tournament the rest of my life, this would be it. Having seen, Rory accomplish the career Grand Slam and those types of things. I think the struggle is kind of like a horse race. I think the struggle is can you foresee him beating the Rorys and Scotties and Brysons on this venue with such an advantage? Again, certainly he's probably putting some pressure on himself, but has some momentum, and he is playing better. He probably has that motivation of seeing his friends win recently and complete the career Grand Slam, but it's just tough to envision him toppling this field.
Lee Smith was just talking golf. Dumb question. Why is Rory playing this good now? Now, part of it's because he's great. Okay, I get that. Part of it is because he's great. He is great. But, 8 starts, 3 wins, 5 top 10s. Looks like nothing in the world's bothering him. Why did he hit this stride now?
Well, I think one of the reasons, Frank, is what he said about his win at the Players' Championship, is that he didn't necessarily win with what we know to be his strengths, which were dominating a golf course with his length and being one of, if not the best driver of the golf ball that maybe we've ever seen. He won with being able to have a much tighter dispersion with his wedges. He's hitting those a lot closer. He's improved his putting and some of the strokes gained around the greens. And to be able to win a title like the Players' Championship with, I don't love the of winning without your A game. When you beat a field of 143 other players, you had something sort of an A game.
Right.
But I think he won it a different way. He won it wedging the ball close. He won it, with maybe improved decision making, and those types of things. So, I think that's one of the reasons is that he's just, it's such a finite process that you just tick up a 1/10 or 2/10 of a stroke with your putting and with your wedge game, and all of a sudden, what was 70 is now 68.5 when you just improve that little bit, and that makes a big difference in the final tallies.
If there is going to be a surprise champion on Sunday, any names that would make sense to you as we head into it, that a guy that is a little off the radar that might make a run?
Yeah, I think names like to me, Jason Day is a guy that's had a little bit of form.
He's won this event before
occasionally. Mm-hmm. That could have a feel. I think Corey Connors is one that certainly it's easy to even say Sepp Straka, who's won a couple times, but a couple of guys that move the ball right to left, which seems to be a little bit of an advantage at Quail Hollow. I'd keep an eye on Patrick Cantlay. He's started to, all those are ones that are kind of in the 40 to 50 or more odds wise. Those seem like some names that could compete.
I know we did this last week by phone, but for people that weren't listening last week, tell us about Quail Hollow. What to expect from the golf course?
Just a massive ballpark that is built to host big time, tournaments, and the infrastructure that they have there. I think the inside the ropes stretches over 7,600 yards. But the infrastructure with parking and service roads and, those types of things, completely investing in the fact that this is what they do, is host big time golf tournaments, President's Cups, major championships, and then the Truist Championship on an annual basis. I think it's one that has a significant amount of tree lined, but tree line nowadays allows long hitters to just hit it over the trees, as opposed to tree line used to being I'm going to keep it amongst the trees and I got to keep it in between them.
Right.
Now tree line means I just hit it over them.
Right.
And so it certainly gives and continues to give those long hitters an advantage. With all the rain, though, I do think that we've got to keep an eye on. I think it'll be interesting to see. I think they had 3.5 inches of rain, not including today, and then they sources tell me that it was. I always wanted to say sources. I always wanted to have,
well done.
I always wanted to
sound
have,
like you've been doing it forever.
I thought Adam Schefter was in the studio.
I always wanted to have a source. I don't really, but that it rained there this morning again. It'll be interesting to see. If the PGA of America plays lift, clean, and place, if there was that much rain, I think with today they probably have ended with 4 or 5 inches over the last 4 or 5 days.
Oh wow!
If not, mud balls can really make a big difference for the listeners at home. Getting mud on the ball, having something on it is a big issue for players at this level. A lot of times mud on the right, the ball goes left, mud on the left, the ball goes right. Now, sometimes they blame it on mud just because they can.
Right.
But I think when you have a moist or even wet golf course, those are things or variables that can come into play that, that normally we wouldn't pay attention to.
Do you think the setup will be much different than the Wells Fargo? I mean, and it's the same time of year, basically. It's 1 week later than what the Wells Fargo would normally be at Quail Hollow. Can the PGA set it up much different than what these players would be accustomed to seeing on the PGA Tour event?
Yeah, I think it'll be somewhat similar, Hayes. There'll be some areas where they probably pinched down, fairways or narrowed it to 26, 27, 28 yards instead of maybe a regular tour event that might be 30 to 32 yards. But Kerry Haig with their chief competitions officer always does a really, really good job, I think, of setting up a golf course that, we've seen tournaments in the past where 18 under, 20 under, 21 under has won the PGA championship. So I don't think they will typically set it up to, beat up the players. I think you'll see a lot of birdies. There's a couple par fives out there. I think there's 3 par fours over 500 yards. So, a wet golf course will only give, those long hitters even more of a advantage. There's 2 par threes over 220. So, I mean, it's a long golf course.
How much does that sub-air system help? They have it at Quail Hollow.
Yes.
So how much does that help? Do you guys have that?
We do, but our agronomy team doesn't necessarily believe in it as much as maybe organic or just regular drainage. Appropriate building the golf course the right way and then having the appropriate drainage to run water off.
You wouldn't turn it on unless it was like an emergency kind of thing.
Yeah, sub air it does a couple of different things. So for listeners, sub air is pipes and infrastructure underneath the subsurface of the greens and the fairways, especially, that allow a golf course to basically turn on vacuum mode that will vacuum moisture out of the soil and dry it out quicker, or they can turn it to a pressure mode and actually push moisture or temperatured air to cool off turf.
I didn't know that. I didn't know it works both ways.
Yeah, that will allow us, if it's too hot, and just promote health and but you can't remove 5 inches. Like it's not one of those things that when you see a puddle, you can just turn it on. It's just you can watch it just get sucked. So it's it's one of those things that can be really, really valuable, especially when you don't have the drainage in places that would be wet. They certainly will have it running in vacuum mode and in getting as much of the moisture off there as they possibly can.
Lee, what'd you think of the end of the Truist, the Lowry Straka down the stretch?
Yeah, I was fortunate enough to be there. I've never played in a PGA Tour Pro-Am,
right?
And having fans and having to yell for a couple times, I kind of enjoyed that. Hitting a couple good shots and getting claps. I thought the golf course, held up very well. Philadelphia showed out very well. It's always great to have, 3 named players like Lowry and Thomas and Straka coming down the stretch. Certainly to see missed putts and some of those types of things, you'd rather win it another way. But I think at the end that's going to be a tournament that people are going to remember, the Truist Championship, as it transitions now to this golf course that we're going to see this weekend for the next 4 or 5 years type of thing. I think it was a really cool tournament, and you heard from pros that Philadelphia needs to have more of a professional golf presence. They got the PGA next year at Aronimink, I think, but just Philly and sports just go together.
I thought at the end of that, I told Hayes this, when Lowry hit the bad putt on 18, I thought that shows just how freaking hard golf is. I mean, this is one of the best players in the world. You and I have run him by like that. Lord knows, I promise I have. But I mean, you know what I mean, Leah? It just shows how freaking hard. That's a putt. He doesn't make that bad of a putt 200 out of 201 times.
Yeah.
Didn't you think that?
Well, look, think about what we've seen over the last 4, 6, 8 weeks. How hard it is to close and win a golf tournament.
Yeah.
Rory at Augusta.
Great point.
Did everything he could to give that away. JT at RBC didn't exactly light it on fire to close it down the stretch. The team event at Zurich with Ben Griffin and Novak, they struggled down the stretch. Joel Damon bogeyed what in the Dominican? He bogeyed 3 out of the last 4 holes or something to lose by 1 or something of that nature. Like, you're exactly right. Coming down the stretch, it's a totally different feeling and really, really hard to win a golf tournament. No different than in other sports. Frank, we had the conversation at the Final Four. Like, it is hard work to get a team to a Final Four and to win a national title. And then once you do it, you expect the Final Four next year and next year and next year. And it's just really, really hard to do.
Who's your pick?
I just love Rory too much, and just the fit. I'd love to see Rory and Scotty come down the stretch, and it's just hard to envision with Rory's momentum. I think probably he doesn't put much pressure on himself to win a second major here, just because it's such a convenient golf course for him and comfortable golf course. I just can't imagine him not going out there and contending for sure.
And you mentioned Scheffler. It's a shame that he's gone to the pot and been so terrible. Now all of a sudden he's only 6th on the money list.
Yeah.
So
we just won a tournament by
32 under,
and made a double coming in or something, right?
So you're exactly right. Quickly, what's going on with the players these days? What are we up to?
Man, we're excited. This is kind of, I had a couple of meetings today just talking about new products and new concepts, and we had a meeting about what our media day is going to look like and kind of being innovative around that. And this is a great time of year to really ideate and create and focus on what the next 4 or 5 years looks like. And I think that's my job, is to strategically look out at as to what the golf course looks like, the setup looks like, what the fan experience looks like. It's going to be exciting, and moving to 120 players next year, Frank, is I think it's going to be great for the fans.
I didn't know about that. Tell me.
We're going from 144 to 120.
I didn't know that. I missed the memo.
Oh, wow.
I didn't know
big.
that. Okay.
And so it will allow us, without any weather delays, to get done on Thursday and Friday, which we've struggled there with daylight. Allow all the media partners to set all the stories going into the weekend and not worrying about who's is this the cut line? Is this not the cut line? Pace is going to be, I think, a lot better when you are able to not have waves waiting on groups starting on 1 and 10. So it's it really creates, I think, a much better fan experience to watch 120 players, but to still have the one of, or if not the strongest field in golf, is still going to be there. So we're excited about all the new things that we'll be able to roll out this fall.
Very cool stuff. I can't wait. Lee Smith, the executive director of the Players Championship and our golf analyst. Lee, thanks, buddy.
Yes, sir.
Hays has headlines after this.
The Frangie Show from the Harrell and Harrell studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
If you need an insurance agent, I'll recommend the best guy in town, State Farm agent Craig Dewhurst. Call him at 940-9740. Really good guy, really good agent. Life insurance, homeowners, automotive, you name it, he'll handle it for you. Tell him what you need. He'll assess your whole situation. What kind of coverage do you need? How much coverage? What should your deductible be? What do you make, and how does it fit your cost and your rates? You will love dealing with Craig. What a nice guy he is, and how he'll help you get the right answers. The best in the business. Craig Dewhurst from State Farm, 940-9740.
This is Duval. This is Jacksonville Sports Radio, 1010XL.
Unlike those big corporate-owned stores, Beard's Diamonds doesn't rely on AI to help you find the right diamond. Beard's Diamonds specializes in DI, Diamond Intelligence. As Town Center's only locally owned jeweler with international connections, Beard's Diamonds is the smart choice for choosing the right jewelry for any occasion. Our diamond intelligence comes from years of helping your Jacksonville neighbors and connecting them to beautiful, dazzling diamonds from top designers like Tacori and Verragio. Diamond intelligence is about finding the diamond that expresses what words can't and leaves her speechless. And Diamond Intelligence is tapping into partners from around the globe to find your true treasure without the middleman markups and bottom line algorithms. Come experience the local, loyal, and helpful difference of Beard's Diamonds in Town Center, home of Diamond Intelligence. There's nothing artificial about it. Beard's Diamonds, proud to be Jacksonville's jeweler at the St. John's Town Center.
Here's Linda Beaver.
Mayday, mayday, mayday.
Come in, Linda. Over.
We've got a sea of new vehicles and they're priced so low they're rocking the boat. Come check out our biggest selection of inventory with prices that don't break the bank and our wow ya experience that will ensure smooth sailing for your next car purchase. Plus, take advantage of our peace of mind warranties, transparent pricing to provide you with a peace of mind. You better beat the surge and head to the all-new Beaver Toyota or Chevrolet for the car buying experience you deserve.
It's Work Zone Awareness Week, Florida. Every year, lives are lost in work zones because of speeding and distractions. When you see orange cones, remember, slow down, follow the signs, and stay focused. Workers are counting on you to get home safely, and so are their families. Let's work together to prevent crashes and save lives. A safety reminder from the Florida Department of Transportation. Slow your roll. Safety's the goal.
Hey, Jacksonville, I'm sure by now you've seen our bright green GFL trucks and containers throughout the greater Jacksonville area. We are an industry leader in solid waste and would love the opportunity to earn your business. We are committed to customer service, reliability, and have unwavering focus on safety. Whether commercial or construction, let us haul your waste away. Call 904-760-5880 to get a quote today. GFL, green for life.
Jimerson Burr is a full-service, Florida-based commercial law firm that has experience and capabilities to handle any legal issue a business is confronted with. Learn more about what they can do for you at jimersonfirm.com.
Join me, Max Fink, as I keep a close eye on everything that happens in Gator Nation.
The Gator Report, polished up by San Jose Collision on the home of the Florida Gators, 1010XL.
Go, Gators!
E.T. here, and Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here your favorite drafts are poured at a frosty 29 degrees, and rare barrel-aged whiskeys are served just the way you want them. It's bigger game days than bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find Scratch Kitchen that always comes in the clutch every day from lunch to late night? Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar. Hit a home run for happy hour and ask your Twin Peaks girl about local specials on drafts, cocktail shots, and more. Come on, somebody.
You've got a lot on your plate. The last thing you need is car trouble. At Maxie's Mechanics, we help you keep your cars, trucks, and SUVs running safely. Visit MaxieAutoRepair.com today for honest service, reliable repairs, and peace of mind for you and your family.
It's not too late for a deep spring cleaning on your home. Give my friends at Zero Res a call. Mayhem. 3-room special starting at $149, plus the 4th room is free. Visit ZeroResJacksonville.com and tell them 1010XL sent you.
Zero Res.
Hacker here with an opportunity. Drop 40 pounds by the 4th. You can do it. I dropped my first 40 in 6 weeks. Hays did it, Dempsey, Ballou, and thousands of others have done it. 40 by the 4th with Awaken180weightloss.com.
AC's broke. It ain't no joke. Call Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. Florida Home AC. FloridaHomeAC.com.
This is Corona Premier. It's the light beer you didn't know was a light beer. Until right. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. Now, Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
Corona Premier, a light beer with just 90 calories and 2.6 grams of carbs. The premier side of light. For those that are active and on the go, pick some up the next time you're heading out to enjoy the day under the sun. Corona Premier, an unexpectedly light beer.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please?
Headlines, presented by Harrell and Harrell. Don't settle for less than you deserve. Hear all about it. Here's Hays Carlyon.
Yes, give our friends at Harrell and Harrell a call at 251-1111. Hopefully you won't need them. Hopefully you don't get injured, but of course that happens in life, and you cannot put your trust in better people than Holt, Renee, and Julie Harrell. They just helped out. My brother did a fantastic job again. Harrell and Harrell, great friends of the program. We certainly appreciate it. Frank Frangie is here. We've got JJ LaSelva. I'm Hays Carlyon. And Frank, let's get it to headlines, because we have a new Jaguar in town.
I saw that.
Yes, the Jaguars have signed blocking tight end Quentin Morris. He has spent the last 3 years with the Bills, 15 catches for 146 yards and 3 touchdowns in his career. So I would not rush out to pick him up in your fantasy league necessarily, but Quentin Morris coming here to block some defensive ends and linebackers.
Yeah, Chris Manhurst revisited, I think, is kind of what this is. And I look, they know what they want, and I will tell you this. I've said it so many times. I'm a broken record. Tony Baselli, among others, James Glass, Liam Cohen. But one thing Tony Baselli said, sitting next to me for 11 years on those broadcasts, it drove him crazy that they weren't better at blocking. I'm serious. The offensive line predominantly is what he was talking about, not blocking tight ends. But getting more physical at the line of scrimmage, and you know this, Hays, was goal 1, 2, and 3. I think didn't it feel that way for this team? And this is one more step in that direction. They hope.
We talked about this deal earlier in the show. Ravens give Derrick Henry a 2-year extension. So Frank, instead of rehashing some of the comments that we had, let me just ask: do you think this is going to start? Are we going to see the revitalization of the position? Do you think teams are going to be willing to stick with running backs and pay them as they get older, or is this a unique case?
Well, I think the answer is both, but it's a great question. We've already seen that. We've already seen running. Saquon Barkley was the prime example of it. But we've already seen Bijan Robinson and Jamar Gibbs and running backs change games more than they had in a while, Hays. Where running backs they're impacting the league much the way they did 25 years ago, and it's been a long time. So yes, I think you see a little bit of that. Having said that, there's nobody else like Derek Carr, so that you can't really compare anybody. Derrick Henry, sorry, Derrick Henry. I apologize. You can't sue me for that. But there haven't been anybody else. There's no other Derrick Henrys. So the answer is both. I think there is a rebirth of the running back in the National Football League, but there's nobody like this guy.
I think the Kansas City Chiefs should be relieved that the regular season isn't around during Easter, because they would be playing on Easter. Because clearly, if there is a holiday, the Chiefs are going to be playing on that holiday. The league announced today that Kansas City will play at Dallas on Thanksgiving. This comes a day after we found out the Chiefs will also be playing on Christmas Day. So Thanksgiving and Christmas Day, you will get Kansas City Chiefs football.
And they want to, and well, they should. The league wants to expose Patrick Mahomes so much. I'm surprised he's not playing in March. I mean, the truth of the matter is, you're right about that. Hey, look, nobody knows how to market like that league. You got the one guy everybody wants to watch play. Put him on as many a primetime and nationally telecast as you can.
Without a doubt. Let's get into college football. I thought this was interesting. ESPN, there's reports, they're now willing to pay for that 9th SEC game. So do you think that we will now get to a 9-game SEC conference schedule?
No question. We talked about this when you were gone last week. There's no doubt in my mind they're going to. Frankly, you would have seen it a year or two ago, but ESPN drew a line in the sand. Greg Sankey, as he often does, drew a bigger line in the sand, and they stayed at 8. I think most people expected, you and I had this talk a few years ago, for it to go to 9. It needs to go. It's going to go to 9. The games are worth far more. Again, there was all this talk about going to 14 teams. I told you on this radio show, they weren't stopping at 14. When they grow, they're going to grow to 16. Now it's kind of accepted that this is the last year of 12 teams. Beginning next year, it'll be a 16-team playoff. And then you're not afraid of the loss. I've always said this, and I'll stand by this, Hays. People say, well, you're destroying the integrity of the regular season. No, you're not. You're making it less tragic. The regular season should be important and compelling. but one loss shouldn't be tragic. Well, 2 losses shouldn't be tragic if you might have the best team. And now you're making it less tragic to lose, and therefore teams are willing to play better teams, more good games, more lucrative games, and that's what you're seeing.
A couple of really great college football matchups in week 1. We talked yesterday about the FSU-Alabama game in Tallahassee will be 3:30. Well, 2 other just absolute juggernaut games that weekend. So we've got Clemson-LSU will be 7:30 at night on August the 30th.
Fantastic game.
And then the following night, we get Notre Dame at Miami, 7:30 on ABC.
My question
I mean, that week 1 lineup for college football is unbelievable this year.
My question is when the La Selvas leave out of here heading south.
Oh, yeah.
When they stop by Ocala for about a half an hour just to get a care package to make it the rest of the way down, and they head down there to the Rock. I'm going to call it the Rock, Hard Rock Stadium, the Rock. I got to believe you're going to that one, right?
Oh, yeah. I'm going with Denny, actually.
Oh, okay.
That's awesome. He's hooking us up. I think we're going to be in like a suite. We're going to the Hard Rock the night before, so I'm very excited. We're taking the train. You know, they have that train now from like Orlando to Miami.
Oh, wow.
I think we're going to try that out.
I did not know. You'll have a blast. I didn't know that. And by the way, to your point, a lot of good games. And you're going to see more and more of those good games. You're going to see, I'm telling you, you're going to see more and more games where teams are playing. That's the beauty. There's so much wrong with where college athletics is going. Stanford on the road to play a league game in Coral Gables is stupid. But I will tell you, one thing we're getting out of this is more good games. Go to 16, you're going to have more good games, and I love that.
Without a doubt. Let's get it to golf. The PGA Championship obviously tees off tomorrow. What a group we have. Rory, Scotty, and Xander all in the same group. Of course, Xander Schauffele is the defending champion of this event, but no one cares or talks about him because of the great years that Rory and Scotty are having. So that trio tees off at 8:22 tomorrow morning, followed by a Friday start of 1:47 p.m.
Okay, by the way, I do have to tell you this. You've got to bail a little bit early because you got a very important family event. So after you're done headlines, before we break, we're doing a little loser Monday.
Oh,
we're not letting you get away with it. Either that or I'm going to give you Tom Kite. Either of the two. I can't wait to watch it. I told you this before, and I cannot wait to watch this. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about I don't get excited about the PGA. And I'll be honest. If Rory plays badly and is not in it, it'll change it significantly for me. But I love where golf is right now, and I can't wait to watch this weekend.
Absolutely. In college basketball news, Boogie Fland withdraws from the NBA draft after being considered a mid-second round pick. Fland was averaging 15.1 points a game for Arkansas as a freshman last season before suffering a hand injury. Fland is in the portal. Is he headed to the national champions?
Yeah, I think everything you read is that Florida and Kentucky are the teams you see mentioned the most. Having said that, Chris Harry came on the show last week while you were out and said Florida he was in New York. Todd Golden was in New York to receive an award from the Downtown Athletic Club, and he said while there they met with a player. Well, he's from Brooklyn, so I'm assuming that's the player he met with. My only question is, why hasn't it happened already? Usually, the minute you started hearing Xavier Lee, boom, it was done. You started hearing that Desmond Claude, I think it was, and then when it didn't happen, you knew it wasn't going to. If he's going to Florida, why isn't it already done would be my question. But I think the Gators have a great chance. That's what everybody says.
In the NBA, Oklahoma City outlasts Denver 112-105 to win Game 5 and take a 3-2 lead in the series. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander led the Thunder with 31 points.
Yeah, they've been pushed. Particularly when Jokic is good, they're really pushed. But that's the best team, and they're showing why.
That shot Jokic hit, it ended up being in a losing effort.
It was ridiculous.
It was totally
just ridiculous.
But yeah, OKC getting close to moving on. The Pacers are moving on. They eliminate the East 1 seed Cleveland 114-105 to advance to the conference finals for the second consecutive season. Tyrese Halliburton led Indiana with 31.
And you know what? I underappreciated Indiana. I even said to JJ, looks like the T-Wolves have been the best team in the postseason. He said, what about the Pacers? Halliburton's emerging as a real star we don't talk enough about. A buddy of mine said, you're looking for stars, how about this guy? He's an Indiana guy. I will tell you this, that team's going to be a tough out. Knicks and Pacers is going to be a lot of fun.
Absolutely. 2 games tonight. The Knicks try to eliminate the Celtics, who lost Jason Tatum to an Achilles tear. The Timberwolves can close out the visiting Warriors. Do both of these series end tonight?
Yeah, I think so. I do get the sense they both are in tonight. And again, a lot of marquee value ends tonight for the NBA. No question about it.
And we will get you out on our musical nugget of the day. Happy birthday to David Byrne of the Talking Heads, who turned 73 today. The Talking Heads were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2002. Byrne, by the way, was fantastic at the SNL 50th concert that was a couple months ago. This is, of course, Burning Down the House.
All right, well done, and one of the well-known songs of that era, no question about it. Good job, as always, with headlines.
Thank you.
But I'm not letting you go just yet, okay? Not letting, well done, as always, quickly. Loser Monday standings look like this. Hays Carlyon is not lost. We've only had 2. JJ lost 1, the Players' Championship. I lost the next one, the NCAA tournament, the first round of the tournament. So we have both had a loss. You have not had a loss, so you go last now. We do pick the golf when we're all 3 here together. I go first. Man, this one's tough. Man, oh man, this one's tough. Please tell us again who we've already picked.
So you cannot pick Scheffler.
Okay.
JJ cannot pick Ludwig Oberg, and I cannot pick Colin Morikawa.
Okay, this one's really, really hard. Back and forth I go. I've talked to my advisors on this one. I've talked to the peeps. I've talked to my wife. I've talked to my great aunt in Harrisburg. I've never been to
How's she doing, by the way?
I'm going with Rory McIlroy. Call me nutty.
Yeah.
But I like to live life on the edge, Hayes.
Yeah.
You know that I'm not. I tend to be unpredictable.
Yeah. I don't think you're walking into Bono's on Monday.
JJ LaSelva, he hails from north central Ocala. You are on the clock.
I'll take Scotty Scheffler.
Another guy that lives life on the edge.
Well done. Well, I guess that leaves me.
Hang on, let me text Ray at Bono's right now. Make sure he still knows what you look like.
Right.
Okay, but go ahead. You are on
Ray,
the clock.
I will be seeing you shortly. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Go ahead.
I cannot believe
I know what you're going to do.
I'm doing this.
I know what you're going to do. Because he's burned you before, hasn't he?
Bryson
he burned you. He burned you at a pizza restaurant on Hodges.
I can't believe
I love it.
I'll take Bryson DeChambeau.
I actually think that's a very good choice because he's not likely to collapse. He's not collapse guy. So there you go.
Unfortunately, none of these guys are collapse guys. Rory has
Rory has in the past. All right, I got Rory McIlroy. JJ's got Scotty Scheffler. Hayes has Bryson DeChambeau. That is our Loser Monday. You got a fun event tonight coming up.
Yeah, I do. I have my son's track banquet at Beachside High School, so heading over there. I appreciate you guys letting me duck out a minute early.
You have a blast. Tomorrow we got tomorrow. We're live at JU. The Rumble tomorrow, by the way. The last baseball Rumble of the year. They played already at UNF. JU UNF Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. We'll be there to preview the first one. Look forward to catching up with Chris Hayes and Merck and all our buddies out there in the baseball community. We'll also have a schedule to talk about. That all comes up. Enjoy your night off.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your night. When we come back, we'll wrap the program. Stay with us.
The Frangie Show from the Harold and Harold studio. Don't settle for less than you deserve.
This is Brent Musburger's Visa in Action update on 1010XL. Brought to you by Duck Duck Rooter Plumbing, Septic, and Air Conditioning. When you're stuck, call the Duck. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
The PGA Championship begins on Thursday at Quail Hollow Golf Club in Charlotte. Scotty Scheffler is the betting favorite at plus 450 to capture the major, while Rory McIlroy, who has 4 career victories at Quail Hollow, plus coming off a win at the Masters in April, is at plus 475. Bryson DeChambeau, a runner-up finish last year in the PGA and current U.S. Open champion, plus 800. Justin Thomas, who won the PGA Championship at Quail Hollow when it was held last time in 2016, is plus 1,600. John Rahm and defending champion Xander Schauffele are both at plus 2,000 to win the PGA. Earn cash back on your gaming transactions with the G-Bank Signature Visa Card at vsin.com/GBank. I'm Tony Desiri with your Visa in Action update on 1010XL.
Attention business owners and property managers. Hurricane season is right around the corner. Is your property ready? Call the pros at Duck Duck Rooter for expert storm drain cleaning and hydro jetting. Our powerful VACCON truck clears the way so your drains flow freely when the rain hits. Call 904-862-6769 today to schedule your service and protect your property before the storms start rolling in. Duck Duck Rooter, your trusted name in storm drain maintenance. Visit us at duckduckrooter.com. We're a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
This is Hays Carlyon from my friend Holt at Harold & Harold. There doesn't seem to be enough time in the day to get everything done. Then you get injured in an accident and you don't know what you're going to do. Let Harold & Harold make it easy for you. Easy on becoming a client. You can just text or email if you want. Easy on finding a doctor and getting through the process. Hopefully you won't need them, but if you're ever injured, call Harold & Harold and make it easy on yourself. Call them at 904-251-1111. That's 251-1111.
I'm just going to cut to the chase. What you really want to know is, why buy from Arlington Toyota? Mia here. How about over 800 vehicles, one lot, 60-day exchange, and friendly credit for everyone. Plus, right now, you choose a pre-owned 2022 Camry, RAV4, or Tacoma for $0 down and only $388 per month. Or how about no payments till August 2025? Shop in person on Atlantic Boulevard, just a quarter-mile east of 295, or online anytime at arlingtontoyota.com.
Hi, I'm Karen, owner of Clay Solar Installation Partners, your local women-owned solar company. At Clay Solar, we're more than just panels and power. We're about people. We make the switch to clean energy simple, stress-free, and built to last. If you've had a bad experience with solar in the past, we can help. We specialize in dependable solutions and top-notch customer service, so you can finally enjoy the savings and sustainability you deserve. Schedule your free consultation at claysolar.com.
Collisions happen on every play in football. Collisions also happen every day on the road. If you need auto body repair, from a $30 job to a $30,000 job, trust San Jose Collision in Mandarin.
The PGA Championship is known for testing a golfer's all-around game.
It's a very difficult putt to read.
Hear updates and coverage of the PGA Championship, teed up by TopDressing.com and St. John's Middle School Athletic Association.
Calling all poker enthusiasts. The Poker Atlas Tour is bringing 7 action-packed poker events to Best Bet St. Augustine, June 5th to June 15th, including Event 1, a $300 no-limit hold'em tournament featuring a $100,000 guarantee, and the $600 no-limit hold'em title event with a $200,000 guarantee. Satellites are happening now at Best Bet St. Augustine. For tournament structures and all the details, visit bestbetjacks.com. That's bestbetjacks.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it. Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/55 to learn more. With 24 monthly bill credits and 2 new lines with autopay for well-qualified customers, plus taxes, fees, and $35 per line connection charge. Credits end and balance due if you pay off early or cancel. Contact us, plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Chargers sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Looking for a fun-filled evening the whole family can enjoy? Discover the thrill of indoor football, a fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement meets family fun. Check out your hometown Sharks this Saturday, May 17th. Kickoff at 7. Ask about family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card, all for only $100. Get tickets at jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. 904-621-0700.
Prosser here, looking for a fun-filled evening that the whole family can enjoy. Our Jacksonville Sharks are back in town this Saturday. Discover the thrill of indoor football, fast-paced, action-packed sport where excitement meets family fun. This Saturday, May 17th, kickoff 7 o'clock. Ask about our family 4-packs, 4 tickets, 4 $10 food vouchers, and a $20 Al's Pizza gift card. All for only $100. For ticketing, go to jacksharks.com or call 904-621-0700. Go Sharks!
At IHRS, we're passionate about solving your hair loss. We're clients too. With the latest hair transplant technology, FDA-approved laser hair therapy, and PRP, we guarantee solutions for both men and women. Call now for a free consultation and receive $250 off. Hair restoration is for me, and it can be for you too. Go to hairforme.com or call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477.
Hi, I'm Mac with Baker Glass. If you've got fogged up windows, let me help. We'll replace them with clear, insulated units that brighten up your home. People say we're fast, friendly, and reliable. Just check out our Google reviews. Call me today. Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
This is Mark Nato. My son Justin injured his hand playing baseball for JU. Southeast orthopedic specialist performed surgery just a few days later, and within 5 weeks, he was cleared to play in the ASUN baseball tournament. Our family has trusted Southeast orthopedic specialists for years. For any orthopedic injury, let Southeast orthopedic specialists take care of you too.
Relieve pain and get back to life. Southeast orthopedic specialists.
1010XL is presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Protecting you and your family. Call 396-5555. Jacksonville.
Now the cool down with Donovan Air, Electric and Plumbing, keeping Jack's cool since '87.
All right, fun show today. We got you ready for the schedule release. There's rumors out there anyway. We didn't kind of get into the rumors, but they're all out there. So you'll know some of the schedule and where the Jags are, or when the Jags are playing these games, home and away, in about a little more than 2 hours and so that'll be certainly a lot of fun. A fun day. The schedule release day is always an awful lot of fun, so we talked about that today. Brett Hastings stopped by to talk about roster limits from the House settlement and the fact that the judge overseeing this case is going to make the NCAA grandfather those in, so kids that expected to be on a roster aren't on a sudden cut. I think that's a good thing. Lee Smith stopped by. He's the executive director of the Players Championship, and he's also our golf analyst. Did a lot to talk about the upcoming PGA. It's at Quail Hollow in Charlotte. Starts tomorrow. Can't wait to watch that, so we're certainly excited about that as well. We talked a little bit about the great Derrick Henry. He got a 2-year deal with the Ravens, 2 years, $30 million. 25 of that is guaranteed. And about Boogie Flanders, he's going to wind up at Florida, the outstanding Arkansas transfer. That's where we've been over the course of the program today. Looking forward to finding out tonight. Schedule release night's an awful lot of fun. It comes up in about 2 hours. The NFL Network and I think ESPN are both doing that. You're hitting the road there, JJ.
I am. This time tomorrow, I will be in Boston on the North End, hopefully enjoying like a Spritz Aperol or something, ready for my reservation at Mama Maria. I'm very excited. We're going Friday and Saturday to Fenway Park. It'll be my first time ever going. And we're seeing the Red Hot Braves.
Yeah.
2 games in a row we've won.
2-game winning streak.
Yes. Tonight going for 3.
So I didn't know that. You just said you're having Italian on the North End.
Yep.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's if our plane gets there on time, which I'm hoping. Nowadays, you never know.
I've told you this before. The Italian the areas of Italian food in various cities, obviously Little Italy, which is Mulberry Street in New York,
right?
The Hill in St. Louis, Federal Hill in Providence. Most big cities have their.
By the way, I've heard Providence super amazing city that a lot of people don't know about.
Great, we're flying. Susanna and I are flying in. We're going to Newport. We're flying into Providence. So, but of all those, the North End in Boston might trump all of them.
I loved it.
If you love Italian food.
Went a couple years ago. And
so you know.
Yes, I've been to a couple restaurants there, and I see those poor souls standing in these long lines outside. I'm like, you ain't getting in, man.
That's
you don't have a reservation, you might as well pack it up, folks.
So 2 days. So Braves and Red Sox, 2 games.
2 games, hopefully. The rain looks like it doesn't look like it's going to be like thunderstorms here, but it'll be kind of dreary weather.
Yeah.
Which is fine because I know when I come back home, I'll be able to go to the beach. We're very lucky living here.
Yeah. But you and I were just talking about that.
Looking at the weather forecast there really makes you realize.
Yeah, really, we are very fortunate to live here. But we like to travel to cool places. You're going to have a great time. You're going to see the Braves play at Fenway, and it'll be an awful lot. And I will say this. I've been to, at one point I had been to 24 of the 30 baseball stadiums. Now I've lost some. I lost Shea and Old
I
Yankee.
feel like every year there's a new one.
Right, that's right. So, I think I've been to 19 of the existing ones. So I haven't been to as many. But there really is nothing like baseball at Fenway. And
I'm so pumped.
There's really nothing like. I mean, it smells baseball, JJ. It smells it. It feels it. It just
it's a little different than the Trop.
Yeah, it's a little different. People say when they go to Fenway and Wrigley, they don't like it because like a pole or a beam's in front of you. Well, that's the
obstructed
charm.
viewing, yeah.
Right, that's the romance of
Exactly.
it. You know what you do? You lean over.
Exactly.
And so, but I truly love it. It's
I can't wait. I'm gonna get there early and just take a good walk around. Hopefully, watch batting practice. I'm really pumped. Wrigley's next, of course.
Yeah, the you know what? And you've never been there either, right?
No.
I love them both. I love them both almost equally, but Fenway's better.
Okay, good.
Fenway's better. The three historic ones, even though Dodger Stadium isn't as historic, they're the three old ones. But Fenway's the best. Fenway's the best old park in baseball. It's an awesome.
And
one.
quick Braves note.
Yeah.
Drake Baldwin. Remember that name. He's the catcher for the Braves right now. The guy is raking. He's awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't know where he came from, but watch out for that guy.
All right, there you go. I will, and you'll see him in person. All right, let's say hello to Hacker.
Now, the 2-minute drill. Serviced by Cool Cats Heating and Cooling. Locally owned and operated. We're your neighbors. CoolCatsJacks.com.
The coolest cats in town.
Schedule release.
Yeah.
Excited.
You know, it's gotten bigger and bigger every year, I think, with social media and the teams releasing all these videos. I'm as big a football fan as you'll find. I know you are as well. That's why we work here at 1010XL. I don't remember 7, 8, 9 years ago this day being what it has become.
Well, and not only that, but the league made it this way because the league is so good. If you remember, it used to be before the draft,
right?
And so you were so draft conscious that the schedule release was okay. But I'm still worrying about who we're picking at number 4.
Yeah.
Well, now the NFL said, okay, well, I'll change that. We'll let you have your draft. Everybody's had to do the draft decompress. And then a couple weeks later, we'll give you this. They're so smart.
NFL Network's doing a 3-hour live special tonight on the schedule release.
Isn't that great?
It's absolutely wild. Now, we don't know when. We know who. But I was looking at the mileage. You got your frequent flyer miles in order?
A lot of trips.
29,000 miles for the Jaguars this year.
You looked that up? You counted?
I didn't count. I have sources on various websites.
Okay, good. Well, you know what? I'll take your sources. I did not realize that.
29 and 36 different time zones you're going to cross.
A lot of long trips on that charter. I can tell you that already. Do you match it against the Gator schedule? Do you match it against your Disney schedule? Do you do all that stuff?
The first thing I'm going to look at tonight is probably December 21st.
Yeah.
Because I know that's a Sunday.
Right.
And Forrest likes to go to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas, which is Friday, December 19th.
See, that's what you do. You look at you match it against your life.
I'll match it against that. Then I'll match it with the Gator schedule.
Yeah. And my birthday's in the fall. I do that. Suzanne's birthday's in the fall. My daughter's birthday's in the fall. So I do all that. I match it against everything.
Well, I'm preparing Coach Campo and Leon. We're going to have some late fifth quarters this year. We got 4 on the West Coast. I don't remember the last time Jacksonville's had 4 West Coast games.
You know what? I get.
Denver, Arizona, San Francisco, and Vegas.
I know in my 12 years of doing it, it'd be the first time.
Yeah,
I was doing
long time.
What's coming up tonight?
Yeah, we're obviously going to talk about the schedule. Again, we know who the Jaguars play. We'll find out when they play tonight. Jordan Dejani, CBSSports.com, will join me. Dave Kluge of Football Guys as well, and our AFC East preview continues. Dave Furones of the South Florida Sun Sentinel looking back on the Miami Dolphins offseason.
All right, it's going to be a lot of fun, and you'll be on the air. Well, you won't be on the air during schedule release.
When the schedule
you'll just go right home.
I'm going to tee it up for R.J. Saunders.
There you go. Well done. Hacker goes into the night. Actually, Hacker after dark. Rick Ballou doesn't go into the night. He's on vacation. That'll do it for our program. Enjoy the schedule release. Tomorrow we'll be live at JU UNF Baseball, and we'll talk all about the Jag schedule and a whole lot more. We're out of here. JJ, have a great trip, man.
Thank you.
JJ is headed to Boston to watch the Braves and the Red Sox. For JJ and Hays, I'm Frank Frangie.